Well, sometimes life gets in the way, and I don't do these video blogs as diligently as I could. So here's the last few games in a very quick nutshell that I've missed. No apologies. I want to get into the Montreal stuff. Got some copious notes here, and I want to pass along some of my feelings about the game Wednesday. It's Tim here once again. It's a view from the South Stands, and I'm videoing this on Thursday, the day after TFC's memorable win against the much-hated Montreal Impact 4-2 at BMO Field to kick off the first leg of the semi-final of the 2016-2017 Voyageurs Cup campaign. Obviously, in the last few games, we've had a lot of big TFC news. We've had Altidore go down. We've had Bradley go away for international duty. We've had Will Johnson go away for international duty. And we've had Sebastian Giovinco pull an abductor. Same injury that kept him out for a few weeks last year. We're told it's not terribly serious, but hey, we'll see. And of course, 2 points out of a possible 12 led to a pretty significant skid in the MLS standings. One thing I will say is take a look at some context, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at where TFC sits in the standings right now in the, frankly, bad Eastern Conference. I think there's about 7 teams within about 4 points of one another. Only Chicago is really significantly out of it at this point, and again, it's still relatively early on in the campaign. Who knows, they could sneak into the playoffs at this point. That's how tight it is from top to bottom. So, we might rue the day that we lost some precious points at home. We might rue the day that Seba went down injured. But let's not jump off collective cliffs right now. Let's just focus on the task at hand. MLS doesn't start again until about the 18th of June, so we've got some time to focus on that. Let's focus on the matter at hand, and that's, of course, the 2016 Voyageurs Cup. Now, going into the game, tying into what I said a moment ago about Seba being injured, the question on everybody's lips in the South Stand last night was who was going to score the goals. And I remember saying pre-game, I would run all the way to the bank with a 0-0 and let's go to Montreal and see what happens. Scoring 2 goals from Jonathan Osorio and then 2 goals from Jordan Hamilton to give us a 4-0 lead. I was frankly in dreamland. Beer was spilling. People were jumping up and down. The stands were hopping. Good crowd last night too. I think over 25,000 people in the stands. Quite raucous atmosphere. The Cup games always feel a lot more special to me than due respect to Houston or San Jose coming to town. Because again, it's our Canadian championship. It's the first trophy the club ever won, and it's our entree into the Champions League, which I'll get to in a moment as well. Now, I can't remember any game where 2 TFC players scored 2 goals in the same game. I'm going to have to consult my my database that Scotty has put together here at View from the South Stands, which you can check out yourself, by the way. He's extensively cataloged every TFC game, every yellow card, every goal, every substitution, every opponent. It's all here, and I'm going to have to go through it with a fine-tooth comb because I can't remember ever 2 TFC players scoring 2 goals each in a single match. And congratulations to Jonathan Osorio for doing that in his 102nd appearance, and Jordan Hamilton in a far smaller number than 102 appearances that he's made for Toronto FC. Now, let's not really jump ahead of ourselves when it comes to the goal-scoring outburst last night. Montreal, without its 2 best defenders, the Cameroonian guy whose name always escapes me, he's away on international duty. Laurent Sama is away with Belgium in for the European Championships that are starting next week. They've had some injuries as well, so their back line was a little on the makeshift side last night, and to their credit, TFC took advantage of that. On the other side of the ball, the attacking 6 for the Montreal Impact were pretty well their best starting 6. Piatti was on the pitch. Drogba was on the pitch. Oduro was on the pitch. All of those guys started the game, and I think the majority of them finished the game as well. So Montreal really went for it last night, and Toronto FC not so much, considering maybe, again, who was away. That might be a little unfair to say, with Johnson and Altidore and Giovinco and Bradley away. If they were here, maybe some or all of them would have started. Who knows? But again, 4-2 now gives Toronto FC a tremendous opportunity to go back to Montreal and settle accounts with them. Now, the sad part is the Reds took the foot off the accelerator a little bit. Didier Drogba's quality shone through once again, and an assist and a very nice free kick goal late in the game put Montreal back into the tie with 2 very precious away goals. Now, math is not my forte. I remember having to do a Latin course in university to be able to graduate with my arts degree because I needed 2 math credits or 2 second language credits. I had a mental block on languages, ended up doing Latin because, pronunciation didn't matter. It was just, the paperwork. Got my degree, and I didn't have to worry about doing calculus. So math isn't my forte. So if I'm making a mistake here, I do apologize. But here's my understanding of the math going into the game next week in Montreal. Pretty simple because of the away goals. If Montreal scores 2 and TFC scores no goals next week, Montreal wins the tie, and they go into the final. If TFC scores 1 goal, Montreal has to score 3. If TFC scores 2, Montreal has to score 5 goals. If Montreal scores 4 and TFC scores 2, well then that's a tie in aggregate. That's 6-6. That's everybody with 2 away goals, and that leads to extra time, and then of course, if needed, penalties. So basically, if TFC can score 1 goal or 2 for that matter in Montreal, that's going to make it very, very difficult for the Impact to come back. Now, they've scored multiple goals against us before. They've scored 3 against us before in the playoffs. They scored 6 against us before in a game at Stade Saputo. They've beaten us at Olympic Stadium. We've had recent struggles in that stadium, but yet on the flip side, we've actually gone there and won memorable games as well. I'm remembering a certain 6-1 that the team has been talking up on the website the last few days. I really want this. I really want Champions League football. I miss Champions League football. I miss those special nights, whether it be some team from Nicaragua or El Salvador that I've never heard from, whether it be yelling off-color obscenities at players that are dropping like they've been shot with a bullet from the grassy knoll. When somebody walks by them. All of the pantomime villainy stuff that you see in Central American soccer. I miss those special nights against the cream of the continent, whether it be your Club Americas, your Santos Lagunas, your Cruz Azules. Those are the nights that, for me as a Toronto FC supporter who goes to every game, who, at least home, don't get to as many road games as I'd like, who bleeds red, not just because of my hemoglobin, but because I friggin' love this team. I want Champions League football, and to do that, we got to win the Voyageurs Cup. And we have an excellent opportunity right now. If you take a look at what happened last night on in the other side of this little competition, Ottawa Fury of the North American Soccer League at home in Ottawa last night beat the Vancouver Whitecaps 2-0. So there, Vancouver has to go and do the business by at least 3 goals. Again, mathematically challenged. They've got to win by 3. If Ottawa scores a goal away, I think it's got to be 4. Again, if I'm getting the math mucked up, please let me know. But there's a real chance not only for Toronto FC to go into the final of the Voyageurs Cup as a favorite, again, due respect to Ottawa if they're able to close the deal against Vancouver next week. But it's also, I can't think of a better way to kick off the true derby. I would love to have a real rivalry with the Ottawa Fury Club of Nassau. I would love to see their fans coming down here in mass. I'd love to see our fans going up there in mass. I think it would be really great for the sport in the province and the sport in the country if another international rivalry could be stoked, and having a final for a trophy, a very special trophy called the Voyageurs Cup, and having a competition that's going to involve the 2 teams from Ontario's 2 major cities playing against one another would be an absolutely wonderful occasion, and something that would be really, really special to see. So next week, Greg Vanney is going to be faced with a decision. I think it's a fairly easy decision at this point. I think you go for it, especially with no MLS game on the horizon until the 18th. I think you play your fittest 11, you play your best 11, and that includes Sebastian Giovinco. If Giovinco is healthy, you play him, whether it's starting him, whether it's off the bench. You bring them along with you, ladies and gentlemen. You don't leave them at home. You don't do what you did in years past, leaving some of the players back in Toronto and not giving yourself the options. You bring your best 18 players with you, and you start the best 11 you have on the day, and you go from there and see what happens. Because this is an excellent opportunity to get this team back to where myself and a lot of the more faithful, ardent, people that love Toronto FC want to see, and that's us back where we belong in the Champions League. And one final thing I want to say about the Champions League and its importance. One thing about the Champions League is if you make the Champions League, guess what you get, guys? You get allocation money. Yes, it's monopoly money to a degree, but you get extra money. Picture this. Let's say Toronto FC had won the Voyageurs Cup last year and got into the Champions League. Guess what would have happened? MLS would have shoveled a whole bunch of allocation money our way, and guess what might have happened then? We might have been able to keep a guy like Herculez Gomez around. Pretty useful guy to have around right now, don't you think? With Sebastian gone. Again, due respect to the Jordan Hamilton and Mo Babuli and guys like this, guys who have yet to prove it at MLS level. A guy like Herculez Gomez still here, playing up top in lieu of Altidore and Javinko would have looked a lot more a daunting prospect for opposition than some very unproven, very young, very raw Canadian players. So that's why you fight for the Champions League as well. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll have another video blog, hopefully a celebratory blog, up next week when Montreal has TFC in town for the second leg of the Voyageurs Cup semi. I want to thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful week. Come on, you Reds, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.